Ladies and gentlemen, we have covered vigilantes, we have covered heroes, but today on Marvel Monday, we are diving into our very first villain, and what a villain that he is. Loki Laufeyson, god of mischief, prince of Asgard, professional pain in the ass. He'll lie to you for fun. He'll lie to you to get what he wants. And sometimes he'll lie just because he's really, really good at it. Today, we are going to be breaking down the psychology of the god of mischief himself. And I thought Winter Soldier was going to be a wild ride, but Loki? This guy is absolutely loaded with daddy issues and a praise kink the size of the 9 realms. As always, here's how we'll break it down. The story arc and the key moments that shaped them, the personality type and why it fits them so perfectly, and the trauma, wounds, and experiences that drive their behavior. Now, a quick note. We're talking about characters who exist in both the comics and in the MCU. So the movies and the shows often adapt them into their own entertaining versions, which means some characters end up with slightly different personality types depending on the medium. Loki is definitely one of those characters, because of course he couldn't make it simple. So for this episode, we're going to focus primarily on the MCU version of Loki. He's the one that most people connect with, and honestly, between the two, who wouldn't pick this charming, chaotic version? Loki was born a frost giant during a war between Jotunheim and Asgard. His biological father, Laufey, saw him as a weak, useless runt and left him to die. Odin, in one of his more questionable kind moments, took the baby in and raised him as his own son, hoping that it would one day bring peace between the realms. He never told Loki the truth about his heritage until it came crashing down in the worst possible way. By the time of Thor in 2011, Loki had already embraced his mischievous side. He secretly plotted with the Frost Giants to disrupt Thor's coronation, believing that his brother was unfit to rule. And to be honest, he was unfit at that time. When Odin falls into the Odin sleep and reveals the truth about Loki's origins, Loki seizes the throne and declares it himself the rightful Allfather. While Thor is banished to Earth, Loki schemes from Asgard. Eventually, the brothers clash, and Loki falls from the Bifrost, seemingly to his death. But death never sticks with Loki for long. From there, we see him working with and for Thanos during the Battle of New York, faking his death multiple times, causing chaos on Sakaar and Thor Ragnarok, and finally, meeting his real end at the hands of Thanos in the Infinity War. Then there's the variant timeline. After escaping during the Battle of New York, Loki breaks the sacred timeline, gets picked up by the TVA, and eventually grows from a self-serving trickster into someone who sacrifices everything for the good of the multiverse, earning him the title God of Stories. Double-crossing, backstabbing, and glorious purpose, this man stays busy. In my opinion, the MCU version of Loki aligns best with the INFJ personality type, the same one that we used and gave Daredevil. It's called the Advocate. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Like Amber, Daredevil and Loki could not be more different. But are they really? Both are incredibly intelligent. Both keep a very small inner circle. Both carry a deep sense of superiority, that quiet or not so quiet belief that they are the only ones who can do what needs to be done. Matt Murdock believes he's the only one who can protect Hell's Kitchen. Loki believes that he's the only god capable of ruling Earth, or Asgard, or pretty much anything. Different traumas, very different outcomes. So here's how INFJ breaks down for Loki. He's introverted. Loki may put a theatrical show on, but deep down he's comfortable in solitude. He craves love and acceptance, but he doesn't need constant parade of admirers like Thor does. He prefers the quiet corners of the palace, scheming in peace. Intuitive. Loki is always 10 steps ahead, and then he has 5 steps for those 10 steps, depending on the outcome. He sees patterns, connections, and future possibilities that others miss. He doesn't just react, he orchestrates. Feeling. Despite the cold exterior and the constant sarcasm, Loki feels deeply. He is driven by emotions far more than he wants to admit. His sense of rejection and being the sun in the shadows fuels almost everything he does. Judging. Loki loves structure and plans. He's goal-oriented and makes decisions based on his personal values, even if those values are questionable. He genuinely believes that he was born to rule, and the universe would be better off if everyone just accepted that. Here's where it gets interesting. Healthy INFJs are often driven by a desire to help others, uplift people, and fix society's deepest problems. Loki has that same instinct, but it's heavily warped. Instead of freeing people, he wants to free them from freedom. Instead of teaching through wisdom, he wants to rule and tell everyone exactly what to do. He still craves authentic, deep relationships. He's just never truly received them until his time with the TVA. And yes, he is an incredible actor. I totally bought his Captain America impression. Now, let's talk about the psychological strengths and weaknesses that make the INFJ Loki so compelling and so dangerous. On the strength side, Loki's dominant introverted intuition gives him extraordinary foresight and strategic vision. He doesn't just react to events, he sees the hidden patterns and long game that everyone else misses. That's why his schemes feel almost prophetic. His auxiliaries' extroverted feelings make him a master of emotional intelligence and charismatic persuasion. He reads people like an open book, mirrors their emotions, and knows exactly how to push their buttons, or make them feel seen when it serves him. It's classic INFJ counselor energy turned into lethal manipulation, and his tertiary introverted thinking gives him a razor-sharp internal logic. Once he locks onto a framework, like I am the rightful king or chaos is only honest order, his plans become elegantly coherent and psychologically devastating. But the weaknesses, they're where the real tragedy lives. When stressed, Loki falls into a loop, isolating himself in his own head, convinced that he alone can see the truth. This creates paranoid, overly complex schemes that alienate everyone around him. He becomes the lone visionary who trusts no one. Under extreme pressure, his inferior extroverted sensing erupts in impulsive, self-destructive meltdowns, grandstanding, stabbing his brother, or chasing immediate power and revenge that backfires spectacularly. His perfectionism and fragile identity make any rejection feel like an existential annihilation. That bottomless need for validation turns him into a dark empath, using people's deepest fears and desires against them while justifying it as necessary. Loki's psychology is rooted in deep pain, abandonment and fragile self-image, rejected by his biological father as a runt, then raised by the very people who demonized his entire race. He always felt like the lesser son, living in Thor's shadow. Identity crisis. Discovering that he was a frost giant, the very monsters that Asgardians were taught to fear, shattered his sense of self. Emotional dysregulation. Loki bottles everything up behind sarcasm, magic, and masks. When it explodes, like during the Battle of New York, it's catastrophic. As he later tells Mobius, sometimes the rage builds and you just have to let it out. Possible borderline personality traits. Intense emotions, impulsivity, black and white thinking, as in if Odin betrayed me, then all of Asgard is against me, and desperate fear of abandonment. His grand schemes, his illusion, his need for control, they're all armor protecting a deeply insecure, lonely god who just wanted to feel worthy of love and a throne. But despite all of that pain and chaos, by the end of Loki Season 2, something profound shifts. Loki has finally learned from his mistakes. He recognizes how his unchecked emotions and deep-seated wounds clouded his judgment for centuries. For the first time, he actively works to become a better man and a better god. He understands that the path ahead will cost him everything. It will alienate him from everyone that he's grown to care about. It means sitting alone on a throne at the end of time for the rest of his immortal life. And yet, he chooses it anyway. For you. For all of us. But this time he means it. That single line, spoken with quiet conviction, shows the full evolution of Loki Laufeyson. The trickster who once craved a throne through fear and force becomes the god of stories, willingly sacrificing his own happiness to protect the multiverse and give everyone else the chance to write their own stories. It's a beautiful, bittersweet ending for one of the MCU's most complex characters. And that's the psychology of Loki, the god of mischief, the prince of lies, and ultimately the reluctant hero who chose solitude so the rest of us could have freedom. Whether you see him as a charming villain, a misunderstood anti-hero, there's no denying that Loki's journey is one of the most emotionally rich arcs in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into Loki's mind, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more Marvel Monday breakdowns. Next time we'll be tackling another fascinating character, the Winter Soldier. Let me know in the comments who you want to see analyzed next. Drop your thoughts below. Do you think that Loki is truly an INFJ, or does another personality type fit him better? And which version of Loki is your favorite? The chaotic early MCU trickster, or the matured god of stories? Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay mischievous. And remember, in the end, we all just want to find that we have a glorious purpose. I'll see you in the next one.